Are you perfect enough to be loved? He made this ball out of paper, then he threw it away. He took another paper, he started trying and did it numerous times.
Trials, mistakes,
Yeah.
and repetitions.
And it's easy for you, piece of cake. Easy peasy.
The Kardashians family for a long time were actually dictating like the beauty etalons, again, the beauty standards.
Where does it become pathological?
Exactly.
It can be very detrimental and dangerous for relationships. It's like this demon standing above you and saying, you're not good enough unless you have that.
You don't have to be perfect to be loved.
Exactly. So difficult. It was like a foreign language, and they look at themselves, I love you. Love you, I love you. Hello, dear friends. With you, Gulnara Omar. And today, myself and my friend, Elena Bilik, is going to help me discuss a very important topic on perfectionism. I hope it's interesting for you because perfectionism can be a root of a lot of troubles and problems, especially with your mental health. So stay tuned and hopefully we will uncover a lot of interesting topics today. Thank you, Lena, for joining me today for this discussion.
My pleasure. The first questions that I have for you today about perfectionism. What's the reason of perfection? Is it genetic or it's evolved through upbringing?
That's a great question because people ask me, is it only because of parenting? Is it because parents model perfectionism and children watch them and then they become perfectionists? Or is it genetic? And I believe that it's both nature and nurture. Nature means that there are children who are born with certain predisposition. And it's been researched to an extent where they had several families and they looked into how perfectionism shows up in different generations. And actually, it does show up in one after another generation. And it's not only role modeling, it's actually genetic. It's the same as you can look like your father with your facial features, your eyebrows or your ears. These qualities can also be inherited, apparently. So the answer is has a dual approach here. So it can be genetic, but again, if people have genetic predisposition, but they don't activate it with certain behavior, certain exposure, it may not get fully activated, and they can actually live healthy and happier life. And it's with any disease. However, if they're born to the family that has a lot of perfectionism in the family, and the members of the family expose, they show perfectionistic traits and qualities a lot in behavior, in the way they talk, the way they eat, the way they judge. The child observes it, and it's definitely makes it stronger in its expression. So the answer is it's both.
All right. I would see perfectionism in this connotation as one of the kinds of compulsive disorders. Would you describe perfectionism as a compulsive disorder? And can that be a coping mechanism? For example, if I have a compulsive disorder to clean everything around me, and I'm very particular with how the things are located, that is my coping mechanism to cover some other parts of my psyche, right? Would you see perfectionism as a compulsive disorder in a way?
That's a great question, because in my master's program, I graduated from American University, University of Seattle, and my thesis, in fact, it was my capstone, almost like a thesis. My research was on perfectionism, and the topic was, are you perfect enough to be loved? And we were studying how perfectionism shows up in conjunction with other mental conditions. And OCD, obsessive compulsive disorders, is actually goes hand in hand with perfectionism. And there is compulsion in perfectionism, because if you're scared of failure, you're going to redo one task or one assignment several times. Or I'll give you an example. I was giving training to children many years ago, and it was an art therapy, and I was asking children to draw their faces, and that would give me an insight as to how they see themselves. Is their face small or big, or their eyes are big, or maybe they're showing teeth? So all of these features would tell me how the child sees himself or herself. And I remember was one child, and he was staring at this blank piece of paper, and he was looking at it, and I said, just draw something, like start. And then he started doing it. He actually had a small oval, and then his neighbor said, no, you don't do this, you should do it in the center. And the other child was more confident. So, and I was observing this kid, and what he did, he just took the paper. He was so angry, he didn't know what to do with it. So he started, he made this ball out of paper, then he threw it away. He took another paper, he started trying, and he did it numerous times. So he couldn't start. And that was a sign of beginning perfectionism in a child. His fear of failure, he was terrified to make a mistake, to do something wrong. Even though I could tell he had ideas, he had an impulse to do something. So that the compulsion to do something, but then he would have a repetitive behavior that would help him as a coping mechanism not to make a mistake. And there's a lot of compulsion in perfectionism. I see how people struggle to start, how people struggle to finish, how people struggle to go out looking not perfect, and they would go and change. So that's a compulsion also in itself.
It can become a vicious circle because to perfectionism would kill the joy, right? In a way, sometimes.
Absolutely.
Because you would procrastinate in getting something done because of, okay, not ready yet. Once I'm ready, once I'm perfect, then I'll get on the job, right? So that would lead to procrastination. At the same time, like the more you procrastinate, the less experience you have, because the experience comes with the trials, mistakes, failures, right? It doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It matters how many times you stood up and do it again, because the repetition, I think it was Muhammad Ali who said, I'm not afraid of the guy who knows 1,000 different techniques. I'm afraid of the guy who trained and repeated exactly the same punch 1,000 times. So it's about the repetition. It's about how many times you try, rather than okay, it's one time and perfect. I don't think it happens. Maybe with super talented people. But other days it's about trials, mistakes, and repetitions, and let it be imperfect. Let's try, and sooner or later you'll get where you want to be.
Exactly. That's a great point, Lena, because when you do something so many times, your brain understands the trajectory of this action, and every time it gets better and better. And for example, I'm sure you can remember a time in your life when you first came to Dubai and something was awfully difficult to do, and now you look at it and it's easy for you, piece of cake, easy peasy, right? So it comes with experience, it comes with action, it comes with exposing yourself to something unknown, and then with time, something difficult and unknown becomes known and easy. But it cannot happen in theory. It cannot happen only with visualization, even though it does help your brain to feel more confident. However, the best learning and the best confidence building blocks happen when you take action. So you're right. Perfectionism can be paralyzing, and a lot of people are scared to start. And at my personal experience, and that's why I created this course, because I was able to combat perfectionism only when I turned 50. And the last 7 years were the best years of my life, because I stopped looking at how perfectionism can make me embarrass myself, do something shameful or other people judge me, I started doing what I love. And yes, I still have perfectionistic traits. I love to groom my hair, I love my outfit, and at least I enjoy it. I do it for myself first. So, yeah, it helped me a lot. And that's why I created this course with a lot of exercises and even tests. It has 10 segments. So, I think it could be very helpful for people if they want to learn about themselves and perfectionism.
How would I find the course?
It's on my website, www.gulnaraomar.com. And under courses, you'll find the course How to Turn Perfectionism into Happiness. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
check it out.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I heard perfectionism can be very detrimental for relationship. What's your opinion about that?
It can be very detrimental and dangerous for relationship because the beauty of relationship is when we can be seen by someone, we can be heard by someone, we can be understood and loved for who we are. But if you are a perfectionist or I'm a perfectionist, if we both get together, we can never let ourselves show our flaws because we will think, no, it will be very painful. We can only be loved when we are perfect. So you don't know who you really love. And that game eventually will wear off and people cannot always be perfect. There will be times when we are low, when we get sick, life happens. But when we get attracted, and usually perfectionists get attracted to perfectionists because they see that ideal person and oh my God, this person, the ideal partner. But then it's very hard when life happens and challenges come into your life, then you can't be together because what you want to have a companion. You want somebody to be with you through thick and thin in difficult situations. And this glamorous period of your life does end at some point, right? And that's where the test comes in. And perfectionists usually fail this test because they can't stand showing them their own flaws. And because they don't allow themselves to make mistakes and they want to be flawless, they project onto other people and the person become flawed. They feel hurt, they feel betrayed, they feel cheated. Like, no, you were not that person. I met you, you were so amazing, and look at you now. You were 10 out of 10 and now you are 3 out of 10. You lied to me. And that's a very heartbreaking experience.
Would be very draining because if somebody has to put a mask on and to pretend all the time to be their best self, unauthentic self as well, because it would be a persona, a alter ego, a so-called alter ego that
Great
would be
point.
created specifically to be loved by the other person, and can be very energy consuming because to keep up that image, it takes a lot of energy, right? And
100%.
we have a saying, right, that you can cross the whole world lying, but you cannot come back because people already know that you destroyed your reputation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So once discovered true self, it would be very difficult to redeem as well if you pretend too much to be someone else.
Yeah.
And when people get to know that, okay, it's been just a mask, that can be very destroying.
Yeah, for the relationships and it can be very lonely because when you keep up that image and your goal is to have that image and no matter what you need to be that person, that person who is on pedestal. It's lonely because true relationships, beautiful relationships, they thrive on vulnerability, on authenticity. When you can be with your girlfriend in pajamas and your hair is all messy and you are just talking about things and you may be crying, you may be sick, you're with a red nose and no makeup and panda eyes and all that. You can do that with people you love. Of course, unfortunately, in the world we live now, it is modeled by social media. And usually social media highlight the best of the best, especially in this part of the world. Dubai is very well known for it because of the socioeconomic status of people they can afford. And then cultural, because here beauty, in Arab world, beauty is celebrated in poetry and the eyes, like this exaggerated makeup and all this. And I love beauty here. And I love beauty in the West. When I see beautiful women there it's a bit different, right? Because they're more natural. But the only problem there is that I feel sometimes it is too much focused on thinness, on being model-esque. Here, new generation, I see they like to be thin. But in general, the curvy and feminine, I think it's more celebrated here. So because I work globally and I go to different parts of the world, it's interesting to observe how women see beauty and how men see beauty in women differently based on the culture. So perfectionism does change from culture to culture. And there are three types of perfectionism: self-oriented perfectionism, other-oriented perfectionism, and also they call it partner-oriented. And the third one is socially prescribed perfectionism. And in collectivistic cultures, including Arab culture, and let's say I'm originally from Kazakhstan, and I was born and raised in collectivistic culture, where the tribal power is very important, and what people tell, and how people judge, and would they approve you. So it's all tribal, and the celebrations and day-to-day life, and even how you find partner. Especially here, it's all arranged marriages. So two mothers get together, and then the brothers and the family members go and investigate about this person because they're not supposed to date. I mean, nowadays they're probably 50-50, but still 50% of Emirati families, they still marry through arranged marriages. So you don't really know who you marry, but reputation is everything. And keeping your image, how you look, because this is the first impression. And here, beauty also is focused on elegance, sophistication. I would say somewhat modesty when it comes to clothing. Of course, when I gather with Arab women, you see, I've never seen ever in my life the collection or the combination of so many beautiful women in one room. They are just mind-blowing when I see them and the way they dress, the colors, because they all have tailors, they like to design, and when they're covered, the world doesn't see it. But when you see them, and it's not only brands that they wear. Yes, they like quality, they like top of the top, but they also are very creative with their outfits and shoes and matching and brightness of colors and makeup, and also here hair is very much celebrated and appreciated, and as a sign of femininity for Arab women. And the longer the hair is, the more she's deemed to be beautiful by men.
So interesting how historically as well the etalon, is there a word in English?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So the beauty icons
Yeah.
were changing, right? So if we talk about Renaissance, for example, there would be more women of
Voluptuous.
yes, like
I
with
think that the word is voluptuous. It's more like plumpy.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the word I was looking for. So more plumpy, like full of life, right? With the red cheeks. Then later on we have females with a really tiny waist, like the
Yeah.
corsets,
Yeah.
the chemicals that they were taken to have the pale face, right? So
Yeah,
from century to century, the beauty changes. And nowadays also, like, there is still like I'm sure a lot of people would agree that the Kardashians family for a long time were actually dictating like the beauty etalons, again, the beauty standards. Yes, and what is the thin line? Because it's a thin line between accepting yourself, right, enhancing your beauty, and enhancing your beauty and changing yourself too much. So like basically reshaping yourself.
Yes, yeah.
Because we all are, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? Each of us are uniquely beautiful. But sometimes you see that people are extremely into their looks and they can go for any means, like anything that could help them to
Achieve the goal
achieve the goal and to
of being
change
more
their
and more beautiful.
appearance.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can get extreme.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you've seen the women that would drastically change their appearance
Yeah.
just to be loved, to be noticed. So there is a thin line between like I do like myself, I accept myself, and of course, yes, I'm gonna express myself. So I will wear the clothes that I like. I would express myself through color, through makeup, the hair, but as well, like not to cross the line.
Where does it become pathological?
Exactly. Where is that
Yeah.
thin
Where,
line?
yeah. So it's a great question, Lena, because I do work with clients, especially in the past, now not so much. As a therapist, it was very painful to watch smart, strong, beautiful women, but being so fixated on their beauty that they cannot be happy, that they don't live life. They go from one surgery to another, they go from one procedure to another, trying to fix something within themselves. And mental health, how do we define that mental health has an issue? When it interrupts your daily life and the energy goes into fixing something and you can't really enjoy. You don't see life around you. Your fixation is you're zooming into something and it becomes your paranoia. It becomes you have erratic thinking, you have repetitive thinking, you can't think of anything else. That's where mental health needs to be addressed. And there is a diagnosis, it's called body dysmorphic disorder. And this disorder is characterized by someone who is so fixated on flaws and needs to go to see the reflection in the mirror and see so many flaws that are not seen to the eyes of others. They see you beautiful, gorgeous, and mostly people don't see these details. They look at the overall shape, and after some time, when you open your mouth, when you walk in, they feel your energy. And usually, people who with these disorders they don't have much energy because all that energy is going into fixing. So I would say, as long as you want to accentuate your beauty, you love yourself, and you ask yourself whenever you want to do it, something, the procedure, am I loving myself right now? When you ask yourself a question, you go to that state of awareness. Am I doing to please someone? Am I doing to, or is it a compulsion? As you said, is it a compulsive behavior? I have to fix it. I have to fix it. So sometimes it's like addiction. Addiction, it sucks life out of you. It takes your money. It takes your energy. It takes your relationships. It wants to own you. This addiction. And many people, when they gamble, when they have drinking addiction, substance abuse, they lose relationships, they lose everything because they don't see the life, right? And that's the purpose of addiction. It's like this demon standing above you and saying, you're not good enough unless you have that. You cannot be happy. I can give you happiness. I will make you happy. I'm on this side. I will give you this beautiful prize. And that's what body dysmorphic disorder looks like. Women, and not so much men, mostly women, they think if I become beautiful, it's almost like a delayed life syndrome. Then, and then. And what happens, and let's say you have children, you don't show up as a mother because all you do is you look at the mirror, you plan the surgeries, you think what to do next. And your children don't have a mother, basically. And in many cases, these women had mothers like that because in many cases it is a learned behavior and it's observed behavior. And it does have to do with perfectionism because they think if they're not perfect, they cannot be loved. And it becomes like a vicious cycle because then you start tweaking, and then you then the face change. And that's how this kind of people, they drive beauty industry, plastic surgery and all that. It thrives on these people with mental health disorders, unfortunately.
You don't have to be perfect to be loved.
Exactly.
Just need to be authentic self.
Yes. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. And if you love yourself, then people see it and feel it because you're kind. I think people who love themselves, they're kind and they're calm because they think joy and happiness is shown in the form of calmness, not ecstatic joy, right?
I would 100% agree with you. I also been reflecting on, when sometimes on social media opens the opportunity for many people to express their anger and show their grudges, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I rarely do, but sometimes like I come across the comments under some posts, and I sometimes I like shocked how much anger people can express, and they have time to go onto the comments and express all their negative emotions,
Yeah.
but they're it just shows that they're not happy, right? And
Yeah, they're miserable.
they have nothing to do with the post even, like that's just the personal problems, personal traumas that they are facing, and they don't have any other way to express them.
Yeah, they don't have outlet, so they find outlet, and misery loves company, and they go there and they kind of
And
find.
I always think, like, if those people would love themselves and they would focus more on something that makes them happy, right?
Yeah.
Going for a jog, for example, or reading the favorite book, I don't know, going to a gallery, something that would
Yeah.
fulfill more, something that would fill that void, and at the same time, like being a source of inspiration, right? To create something. They wouldn't have time to go online and express all that negativity. So lack of self-love, that's, to my opinion, is something that is creating all those negative comments on social media.
Yeah, absolutely, because they feel lonely, and online you can express yourself really. So because they probably never say this in the face individually, and like face to face they would never have that courage. But it's hard for them to keep that anger, so they found an outlet, and they just pour their heart, and that helps them. But the problem is that it's a vicious cycle because you can't get out of it. The more you say these things, the more you tell your brain that I'm miserable, my life is not happy, and your brain goes down and down. So this kind of platforms are not so helpful, to be honest.
And the more it is repeated, the more it becomes a habitual, learned behavior.
Exactly.
In my opinion, perfectionism and narcissism,
Can
they're
go
like,
hand in hand. Yeah, totally. And the thing is that most of us, we have some elements of narcissism. It's not like that, oh, this person now they have a tendency, this person is a narcissist. Yes, they're a narcissist, but everybody wants to be seen, and people use it. Of course, it's when it goes to extreme, then that's not good. When people gaslight and turn tables, and they never take responsibility, that's when they're dangerous. But narcissistic tendencies, we all have them at some point of life, and it goes hand in hand with perfectionism.
what would be your advice for women who are on their journey of accepting themselves? And what could be one tip that you can give for women to help them to stop being so fixated on their beauty and to accept themselves, basically?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you, Lena. First of all, I would say that they need to start with self acceptance. And of course, it's easy to say. What is self acceptance? Self acceptance is understanding that we are flawed human beings, and actually accepting yourself in those moments when you wake up first thing in the morning, when you're not so perfect, and being in that condition and embracing yourself, and also catching that narrative, or I don't want to go out like this because I'm not perfect, or when I lose weight, then I'll go and attend this event. Because it affects how women show up in the world. They don't go to social settings. They wait for reaching certain weight level. They wait to fight their acne, for example. And in psychosomatic, for instance, having strong acne and skin conditions, it is because we are in antagonistic or aggressive environment. An aggressive environment also comes because we don't accept ourselves and we don't accept others. So it's all psychology. And just to give you a direct one tip to help yourself is journal and understand your thoughts. And if you journal every day, at some point, maybe third day or fourth day or seventh day, you start understanding your patterns of your thinking. And when you're aware, you actually can stop. If you're not aware, you will do it on autopilot. But when you stop and say, why am I so self-critical? Oh my God. And so there'll be several stages, like a grieving. And one of the greatest techniques that I find helpful is writing a letter to your beauty, to your body, to yourself, and thanking your feet, your legs for walking everywhere, thanking your hands for hugging people you love, for eating, for doing all the things you need to do, thanking your body for being your best and the only temple that you will live for the rest of your life. And stop and asking for forgiveness. And for so many clients, this exercise in itself is so therapeutic, so cathartic. There's a lot of
Self-loathing.
yeah, self-loathing, exactly, and also regret that I've wasted so much time. I could have enjoyed that. I could have enjoyed that. And my parents died, and I was so worried about my upcoming surgery to have a tummy tuck, and I didn't spend time my last months with my mom. So there's a lot of regret because people lose connection with life, and that's in itself huge loss and waste of time and human energy, right? So journal, be aware, and change your narrative. And like with everything else, baby steps. Because if you did it all your life, it's going to be very hard for you to instantly change. So baby steps, journal, notice your patterns in your thinking and change them. And don't scold yourself, don't be self-critical. You have enough of that. Just gentle, 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 gentle. And then with time, you will start loving yourself and look at in the mirror with more love and say nice things. I had a training, Lena, one time, and I gave all my participants mirrors. And I asked them to say, I love you 20 times. And some women, they couldn't do it. And I had a lot of women crying. And it was really sad how much misaligned it was with what they think about themselves, as if it was so difficult. It was like a foreign language, and they look at themselves, I love you, love you, I love you, as if they've never said it to themselves. So I think that's journaling, writing letter to yourself, and when you look in the mirror, even if it's uncomfortable, say I love you until it becomes more comfortable day by day. Yes. Loving yourself is beautiful. And women who love themselves, they come across as beautiful, right? And people who don't love themselves, and they can be so beautiful, so they will catch your eye, but they will never want you to go and be in their energy. You will look at them as a beautiful statue, as some nice piece of art, but you will not want to go and connect. And connecting from heart to heart, is that what makes our life beautiful?